Welcome to Quick Reads for Success, the place where timeless wisdom meets practical strategies to transform your life. Now, let me ask you a question. Have you ever felt powerless in a situation, even when you knew you had the talent or skills? Have you ever wondered why some people effortlessly rise to positions of influence while others, equally capable, remain invisible? The truth is, success in life is not just about talent, hard work, or even intelligence. It's about understanding power, how it works, how people use it, and how you can protect yourself from those who would use it against you. That's exactly why today we're diving into Robert Greene's legendary book, The 48 Laws of Power, a book that has been studied by world leaders, CEOs, athletes, and even Hollywood stars. It's controversial, it's brutally honest, and it reveals the hidden rules of human behavior that most people are too afraid to admit. But here's the catch. The book is massive, and if I tried to cover all 48 laws in one video, we'd be here for hours. So, I've broken it down into 3 powerful episodes, each covering 16 laws in detail. In this video Part 1, we'll uncover laws 1 through 16, with real explanations, insights, and lessons you can apply in your everyday life. If you truly want to understand power, not just in politics or business, but in friendships, workplaces, and relationships, you're in the right place. So stick with me till the very end, because each law builds on the next, and trust me, by the time you finish this video, you'll see the world in a completely new light. Let's start with the very first law of power. Never outshine the master. At first, this may sound unfair. After all, shouldn't people admire your brilliance and reward your talent? But here's the harsh reality. Human beings are driven by ego, pride, and insecurity. If you make your superiors, your boss, your teacher, or even a mentor, feel overshadowed, they won't celebrate you. They'll feel threatened. And when people feel threatened, they often respond with jealousy, resentment, or even sabotage. Robert Greene gives a historical example of Nicolas Fouquet, a French minister who tried to impress King Louis XIV by throwing the most extravagant party France had ever seen. He thought the king would admire him. Instead, Louis XIV grew suspicious and jealous of Fouquet's power. Within days, Fouquet was arrested and spent the rest of his life in prison. The lesson: outshining your superiors is dangerous. Instead, make them feel smarter, more capable, and more powerful. When you let them shine, they'll elevate you in return. So in practical terms, if you're at work, don't make your boss feel replaceable. Highlight their strengths and give them credit. If you're a student, respect your teacher's authority, even if you know more about a subject. If you're in a relationship, don't always dominate. Let the other person feel valued. Power isn't just about being the smartest person in the room. It's about making the people above you feel secure, so they become your allies instead of your enemies. Remember, humility in front of the master is not weakness, it's strategy. Moving on to Law 2. Never put too much trust in friends, learn how to use enemies. We've all heard the saying, keep your friends close and your enemies closer. This law explains why. Friends, though loyal, are often unreliable in matters of power. Why? Because emotions complicate relationships. A friend may betray you out of jealousy, competition, or simply because they take you for granted. On the other hand, enemies, strange as it sounds, can be far more dependable. Why? Because they have something to prove. If you can turn an enemy into an ally, they'll often work harder to show their loyalty, simply because they don't want to return to being your enemy. Robert Greene gives the example of Emperor Constantine, who united Rome not by relying on friends, but by making peace with his rivals and using them to strengthen his position. Think about it in your life. At work, a rival coworker might actually be more motivated to deliver results if you bring them on your team, because they want to prove their worth. In business, competition can sometimes become partnership, leading to stronger outcomes. Even in personal life, someone who once disliked you might become a surprising ally if you give them the chance. Now, this doesn't mean you should distrust every friend. It means, don't rely solely on friendship when it comes to important matters. Balance emotion with strategy. And never forget that those who flatter you the most may one day betray you. Trust actions, not words. Enemies can be useful tools, because unlike friends, they have a clear motivation: survival and self-interest. Now let's talk about Law 3, conceal your intentions. In a world full of competition, the element of surprise is one of your greatest weapons. If people can predict your next move, they can prepare against you, weaken you, or even stop you before you succeed. That's why the wise never reveal their full plans too early. Think of it like a game of chess. If you show your opponent every move in advance, you've already lost. The same applies in life. Keep your goals, strategies, and ambitions private until the right moment. History is full of examples. Take Otto von Bismarck, the German statesman, who was known for keeping his political moves secret until it was too late for his rivals to react. By the time they figured out what he was doing, he had already won. Practical application? If you're starting a new business, don't announce every detail to the world before it's ready. Competitors might steal your idea. If you're applying for a promotion, don't brag about it. Just let your performance speak when the time is right. Even in personal relationships, sometimes it's wise to keep your intentions private until trust is firmly established. When you conceal your intentions, people remain off balance, guessing, and uncertain. And when they're uncertain, you're in control. Remember, mystery is power. The less people know, the less they can interfere. And that brings us to Law 4, always say less than necessary. Words are like arrows, once released, they can't be taken back. And the more you speak, the more likely you are to reveal something you didn't intend to. Powerful people often say little, but what they do say carries weight. Silence, when used strategically, creates an aura of mystery. People will fill the gaps with their imagination, often giving you more credit, respect, or fear than you even deserve. Think of powerful leaders throughout history, from Napoleon to modern CEOs, who often spoke in short, calculated sentences. They understood that restraint in speech creates authority. In your life. In meetings, speak only when you have something valuable to add. In negotiations, don't reveal your entire position. The one who talks less often holds the advantage. In arguments, sometimes silence is the strongest response. The truth is, people who talk too much reveal weakness. They show their emotions, their insecurities, and even their strategies. But those who master the art of restraint command respect. So remember, the less you say, the more powerful your words become. Leave people guessing, and you'll always maintain the upper hand. Reputation. It's invisible, yet it's one of the most powerful assets you'll ever own. That's why Robert Greene's Law 5 tells us, so much depends on reputation. Guard it with your life. In every society, throughout every era of history, reputation has shaped the rise and fall of kings, emperors, politicians, and even ordinary people. Why? Because reputation is how the world sees you. It's the story people tell about you when you're not in the room. And once damaged, it can take years, sometimes a lifetime, to repair. Take the story of Julius Caesar. When his enemies in Rome tried to tarnish his image, Caesar fought not only with swords but with reputation. He positioned himself as generous, noble, and forgiving, a man of the people. His reputation gave him legitimacy and loyalty, even when rivals plotted against him. The lesson: protect your reputation at all costs. If someone tries to smear your name, defend it swiftly and decisively. But also, proactively build a reputation that works in your favor. Practical ways you can apply this today. In business, deliver on your promises. If people see you as reliable, they'll trust you with bigger opportunities. At work, protect your professional image. Don't let gossip, laziness, or small mistakes ruin how colleagues see you. In relationships, build a reputation of loyalty and honesty. Here's the key: reputation is like glass. Once cracked, it may never return to its original state. Guard it with your life. And remember, your reputation often walks into a room long before you do. Now, let's move to Law 6, court attention at all costs. This one can feel uncomfortable at first, because many of us were taught to stay humble and let our work speak for itself. But here's the truth: In a world flooded with voices, messages, and distractions, the one who commands attention holds power. Think about it. People don't always follow the most talented leader, but the one who stands out. Celebrities, influencers, politicians, they all understand this law. They know that visibility often matters more than ability. History is full of examples. Take P.T. Barnum, the famous showman of the 19th century. He wasn't always the best entertainer, but he was a master at grabbing attention. He created curiosity, staged spectacles, and made sure his name was on everyone's lips. The result: fame, fortune, and lasting influence. Now, how do you apply this without being fake or arrogant? At work, don't hide behind the scenes. Make sure your contributions are noticed. If you're building a business, market yourself, tell your story, create buzz, and stay visible. In personal life, don't be afraid to stand out for your values, your style, or your ideas. The danger of staying invisible is that you'll be overlooked, even if you're the most skilled. Remember, attention is currency. The more you have, the more opportunities flow to you. So don't shy away from visibility. Learn to shine strategically, because in the game of power, obscurity is death. Law 7 may sound ruthless, but it's brutally honest. Get others to do the work for you, but always take the credit. Now, let's be clear. This doesn't mean exploiting people unfairly. What it means is leveraging the skills, time, and energy of others to multiply your own results, while positioning yourself as the leader. Throughout history, great leaders have mastered delegation. They understood that they don't have to do everything themselves. Instead, they guided, inspired, and managed others, then claimed the reward of leadership. Consider Thomas Edison. He's remembered as the genius who invented the light bulb. But the truth is, Edison ran a massive team of researchers and assistants who did much of the groundwork. Edison directed the vision, but history remembers him. Here's how you can apply this law wisely. In business, build a strong team. Don't burn yourself out trying to do it all. Instead, guide your people and claim the overall success. In your career, collaborate with others, but learn to present yourself as the face of the result. In daily life, remember that influence often comes not from working the hardest, but from working the smartest. The trick is balance. Acknowledge contributions when needed, but don't let others steal your spotlight. Position yourself as the leader, the one who brings it all together. Because in the end, the world remembers the names at the top, not the dozens behind the scenes. And now we arrive at Law 8. Make other people come to you, use bait if necessary. This law is about reversing the chase. In life, the person who does all the running often loses power. Why? Because chasing shows desperation. But when others come to you, you maintain control. In warfare, great generals understood this. Instead of charging recklessly into enemy territory, they positioned themselves strategically, forcing the enemy to attack on their terms. The same is true in negotiations, business, and even relationships. The art of this law lies in attraction. You create conditions that draw people toward you, instead of pushing yourself onto them. Practical examples. In business, instead of begging customers, create such a strong brand or offer that people are drawn to you. In your career, instead of constantly chasing opportunities, develop skills and a reputation so valuable that opportunities chase you. In relationships, instead of overwhelming someone with attention, create intrigue and value so they naturally seek your presence. Sometimes, this law requires bait, giving people a small taste of what they want, to lure them into your orbit. Think of a teacher who shares just enough wisdom to make students curious, or a leader who offers just enough reward to keep followers chasing more. The key is patience. Power grows when people come to you. It shows strength, authority, and self-confidence. So remember, don't always run after what you want. Position yourself so that others come knocking at your door. Law 9. Win through your actions, never through argument. Think about the last time you got into a heated debate. Did you really win? Or did the other person just walk away, silently disagreeing with you? That's the problem with arguments. Even if you prove you're right, you often lose, because people don't like being forced into a corner. Robert Greene teaches that the true way to win is through action, not words. Actions demonstrate truth in a way that arguments never can. Take Galileo, the great scientist. Instead of fighting endless debates with the church or his rivals, he presented his ideas in a way that let others draw their own conclusions. He demonstrated his brilliance with practical inventions and observations that couldn't be denied. In your own life, if you want respect at work, don't argue with your boss or co-workers. Show results. Deliver. Let your actions silence the critics. In personal conflicts, sometimes walking away and succeeding later is the strongest revenge. In business, don't try to convince people your product is the best. Let the results, reviews, or demonstrations speak. The truth is, actions have gravity. Arguments often dissolve into thin air, but action leaves a lasting mark. So don't waste your energy proving people wrong with words. Show them. That's the real victory. Now let's talk about Law 10, infection, avoid the unhappy and the unlucky. We may not realize it, but emotions are contagious. Spend enough time around negative, bitter, or unlucky people, and their energy rubs off on you. You start thinking like them, acting like them, and worst of all, suffering like them. Robert Greene warns that associating with the perpetually unhappy can drain your energy, destroy your reputation, and even bring you down to their level. Think of it like an infection. If you surround yourself with sickness, eventually you'll catch it too. History proves this law. Consider the story of Lola Montez, a dancer and courtesan whose life was filled with chaos and drama. Those close to her often met tragic fates, because her negativity and reckless behavior spread like wildfire. In your life, pay attention to the people around you. Do they uplift you or drag you down? At work, avoid those co-workers who constantly complain, gossip, or create drama. In friendships or relationships, be wary of those who always play the victim or bring bad energy. This doesn't mean you should abandon everyone who goes through hard times. It means you must protect yourself from people who live in a constant state of negativity and misfortune. Because here's the truth, your energy is your most valuable resource. Guard it. Surround yourself with people who inspire growth, success, and positivity. Avoid the unhappy and unlucky, or risk sinking with them. Now we arrive at Law 11. Learn to keep people dependent on you. It may sound manipulative, but in the world of power, dependence equals control. If people can live, succeed, or move forward without you, they have no reason to stay loyal. But if they depend on you, for skills, knowledge, resources, or leadership, they'll think twice before crossing you. Take the story of the Medici family in Renaissance Italy. They gained immense power not only through wealth but by making artists, politicians, and even rival families dependent on their support. As long as people needed them, they couldn't be challenged. In your life, this doesn't mean enslaving others. It means creating value so unique that people see you as indispensable. At work, develop skills that others can't easily replace. Become the go-to person in your field. In business, provide such strong value to your customers that they can't imagine going elsewhere. In personal relationships, don't give everything away too easily. Keep a sense of value that others want to hold on to. Dependence creates leverage, and leverage is power. Remember, if you make yourself irreplaceable, people will protect you, because losing you would mean losing something they desperately need. Next up is Law 12. Use selective honesty and generosity to disarm your victim. People naturally distrust those who seem too ambitious or too cunning. But one well-timed act of honesty or generosity can disarm their suspicions and win their trust. Think of it as strategy. By giving a small gift, admitting a harmless truth, or showing generosity in one area, you create an opening for greater influence. Take the example of the famous con artist Victor Lustig, when he tricked people into buying the Eiffel Tower. Yes, you heard that right, he used selective honesty. He revealed just enough truth about government secrets to make himself seem trustworthy. Then, when people believed him, he executed his scam. Now, I'm not saying you should deceive people. But the principle holds true in everyday life. If you want to build trust with a colleague, share a small vulnerability. It makes you relatable and lowers their defenses. In negotiations, offering a small concession can open the door to a much bigger win. In relationships, small acts of generosity build deep loyalty and make people less suspicious of your intentions. The key word here is selective. Don't give away everything. Just enough to make people drop their guard. When used wisely, selective honesty and generosity become powerful tools of influence. Now, before we continue with the next laws, let me pause for a moment. If you're still watching this video, it means something important. You're serious about learning, about growing, and about succeeding in life. And for that, I want to say thank you. Because not everyone has the patience or drive to stick around for wisdom like this. But here's a small favor I'd like to ask. Make sure you subscribe to Quick Reads for Success, and hit that like button. Why? Because only a small percentage of people who watch actually subscribe, and your support motivates me to keep creating these life-changing videos for you. Let's continue with Law 13. When asking for help, appeal to people's self-interest, never to their mercy or gratitude. Most people make the mistake of thinking that others will help them out of kindness or gratitude. But Robert Greene reminds us of a simple truth. People are motivated far more by self-interest than by compassion. If you ask for help by reminding someone of what you did for them in the past, or by begging for pity, you're putting yourself in a weak position. They may feel burdened, annoyed, or even resentful. Instead, frame your request in a way that benefits them. Show them how helping you will also help their goals, reputation, or advantage. History gives us countless examples. The great statesman Benjamin Franklin once turned an enemy into a friend not by begging for mercy, but by cleverly asking to borrow a rare book. This small request flattered his rival, who then felt important and valued. Over time, the man warmed to Franklin. In practice, if you want help at work, don't say, "Please do this for me." Instead say, "This project could make both of us look really good." In business, don't pitch by saying, "I need your investment." Instead say, "Here's how your investment will give you a strong return." Even in personal life, people are more likely to act when they see what's in it for them. The truth is, everyone listens to one station. WIFM, what's in it for me? If you can tune into that frequency, you'll rarely be denied. Next up is Law 14, pose as a friend, work as a spy. This may sound cold, but in the world of power, information is everything. If you don't know what others are thinking, planning, or feeling, you're blind. And the easiest way to gather information is to present yourself as a friend. Open, trustworthy, and curious. When people think you're their ally, they let their guard down. They talk. They reveal secrets, weaknesses, and opportunities. And when you know what they don't know you hold the upper hand. Think of Cardinal Richelieu of France, who built his immense power not just through politics, but through an intricate network of spies. Many of those spies posed as servants, allies, and even friends, gathering intelligence that allowed Richelieu to outmaneuver his rivals. In your life, this doesn't mean becoming manipulative or deceitful in every relationship. But it does mean practicing the art of listening, observing, and asking the right questions. At work, casually asking colleagues about projects can reveal insights that help you stay ahead. In business, building trust with competitors can sometimes reveal what strategies they're planning. Even socially, knowing what people really want can help you influence outcomes. The key lesson here is, people reveal the most when they feel safe. So, pose as a friend, but listen like a strategist. Information is power, and those who have it rarely lose. Now, let's talk about a law that feels ruthless but is crucial in the world of power. Law 15, crush your enemy totally. History shows that leaving an enemy half-defeated is one of the most dangerous mistakes a person can make. Why? Because a wounded enemy doesn't forget. They plot, they rebuild, and they eventually return for revenge. Take the Roman general Scipio, who faced the great Carthaginian general Hannibal. Rome learned the hard way that sparing Carthage after the First Punic War allowed their enemy to rise again, leading to even greater destruction in the second. Eventually, Rome crushed Carthage completely. Only then was the threat truly gone. In modern life, this doesn't mean physical destruction. It means eliminating threats so completely that they can't rise against you again. If you're competing in business, don't just beat your rival halfway. Innovate so strongly that they can't catch up. In your career, if someone is trying to sabotage you, confront the issue firmly and decisively, leaving no room for them to continue. In personal life, sometimes cutting ties fully is the only way to protect your peace. Half measures leave doors open. And in power, open doors are vulnerabilities. So when it comes to enemies, Greene's advice is clear. Finish the game, don't pause it. And finally for today, we reach Law 16. Use absence to increase respect and honor. There's a saying, familiarity breeds contempt. The more available you are, the more people take you for granted. But when you step back, your value rises. People begin to miss your presence, your influence, and your contributions. Robert Greene explains that scarcity creates respect. When something is rare, it feels more valuable. When it's too common, it loses its shine. Think of great leaders or artists who knew the power of stepping away. Napoleon Bonaparte, for example, often disappeared from public life for periods of time, only to return with even greater impact. His absence created anticipation and made people value him more. In your life, in relationships, don't always be available. Give space, and your presence will feel more meaningful when you return. At work, don't make yourself so common that people stop noticing you. Instead, choose moments to step back so that your contributions feel impactful. In business, scarcity can make your product or service more desirable. Absence is not weakness, it's strategy. When used wisely, it makes your presence a gift, not a given. And that, my friends, brings us to the end of Part 1 of the 48 Laws of Power, where we've uncovered Laws 1 through 16. We've learned how to protect our reputation, how to control attention, how to build dependence, and even how to use absence as a weapon of influence. These are not just lessons for kings, generals, or politicians. They're tools you can use in your daily life, at work, in relationships, and in any pursuit of success. But remember, this is only the beginning. The book has 48 laws, and we've only scratched the surface with the first 16. If you want to continue this journey and discover the next set of 16 laws, Laws 17 to 32, make sure you watch the next video in this series. It's coming very soon, and I promise, the insights there are just as powerful, if not more. Before you go, here's a final favor. Subscribe to Quick Reads for Success, hit that like button, and share this video with someone who needs it. Your support fuels this channel, and it allows me to keep creating deep, life-changing content for you. Remember, knowledge is power, but only if you use it. So take what you've learned today and start applying it. Whether it's guarding your reputation, mastering silence, or positioning yourself so others come to you. These laws are tools to help you rise above the ordinary. This is not the end. It's only the beginning of your journey with power. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep striving for success. And don't forget, the next 16 laws are waiting for you in Part 2. I'll see you there.